Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the January 21st business meeting of the Daytona Beach Community Redevelopment Agency. This is our CRA. We're happy and delighted to have each of you here with us this evening. At this time, we would ask Madam Clerk for a roll call.
Commissioner Paris?
Here.
Wait. Oh. Okay. Commissioner Paris?
Here. Present.
Okay. Commissioner Strickland?
Here.
Commissioner May?
Here.
Commissioner Cantu?
Here.
Commissioner Henry?
Here.
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Chair Derek L. Henry?
Here. We'll now have the...
Sir,
I'm sorry.
that's all right. I move to have Commissioner Paris attend this meeting virtually.
Second.
All right, we'll take a motion from Commissioner Reed, second from Commissioner Henry. This time, we will have our invocation, which will be led by...
They have to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. This motion carries 6-0. At this time, we will have our invocation, which will be led by Commissioner Henry, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner Paris.
Gracious Father, we thank you. We thank you for this opportunity to gather today. We thank you for your many blessings. We ask and pray that you will continue to bless each and every person gathered here. Heavenly Father, we ask and pray that you will help us to make good decisions tonight for our city, for our constituents, and for everyone who needs us to make good decisions. We ask and pray that you will bless all of our firefighters, would you bless all of our police officers and keep them safe, Heavenly Father. We ask these blessings in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
Of the
States of
United
America
States of America.
and to the
And
republic
to the
which
republic
stands one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice
liberty
for all.
and justice for all.
We'll now move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the December 17th, 2025 meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Now move on to our agenda approval. If there are any changes, our city manager will address them.
Mayor, Commissioners, there are no changes for tonight's agenda.
I move to accept the agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. No further questions or conversation. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we'll now move on to item number 6, which are presentations. Tonight, we have the Amy Powell, Beachside Redevelopment Chair presentation on behalf of the Beachside Redevelopment Board.
My name is Amy Pyle. I live at 136 South Grandview. Good evening and Happy New Year to everybody. Honestly, I thought I was going to be a part of a presentation. I was thinking this was a redevelopment board presentation with all the different chairs, so I really, I appreciate the opportunity to come up here, even though it's just me. I'm representing the Beachside Redevelopment Board, and what I hope will be just the first of regular appearances to bring valuable ideas to the CRA board. My fellow board members, some of whom are in the audience, I think, and I appreciate this opportunity to bring our suggestions directly to you. And I'd just like to mention on a couple of these items, if the board members that are in the audience would like to speak on any of, add to any of them, I'd welcome them to come up and do that. We have compiled a brief list of improvements that we would like to see in the beachside redevelopment area. And this involves the Main Street redevelopment area and the South Atlantic redevelopment area. And for those of you listening, it goes from about Seabreeze down a little bit past ISB and along A1A there. That's the section that we're talking about right now. City staff is keenly focused on big projects and things like the Main Street streetscape that's coming up. But our board members who actually live and work in the area want to stress in no uncertain terms that eliminating blight is a part of the redevelopment plan. Even if it's small bites, large bites, doesn't always have to be a huge project to improve the area. Along those lines, we chose a handful of things that we feel could be promptly addressed and as we await the larger ongoing projects in the area. So first, let's talk about streetlights for a moment. The ones along A1A are not always all working. I won't say how many are working right now. I didn't actually go out and do a count, but several of the board members have mentioned that frequently they're driving up and down A1A at night and there are lights out. So whether the city owns the lights or FPL, because there's two different kinds of lights, we shouldn't be waiting for a citizen to report an outage. The city works for the people, and if we ignore an issue until citizens have to report it, it kind of makes us look bad. So people in general don't know how to report things. I mean, I do, because I'm doing it all the time. But generally people think, oh, someone else will notice that, someone else will take care of it, and it goes unnoticed. So another thing is that the lights should be uniform in color. We feel that there's some different types, and I think they're in the process of maybe replacing some, but we would really like them all to be on and uniform in color. And once they're all working, let's find a way to keep them on. If some are destroyed by a hurricane, it shouldn't take several years to get them fixed. This may involve coordinating with Public Works, FPL, or other relevant parties. So my ask is this: please ask staff to make sure all the lights are on in the CRA, uniform in color, and to establish a system to make sure that when they go out, they're addressed promptly. Number 2, trash. We would like to see that trash receptacles in our core tourist area are monitored and never become unsightly or overflow. During busy times, extra trash patrols may be necessary. Make it a priority that a city employee witnessing a full trash receptacle should report it promptly. Maybe that's the case, but every now and then we go down to the boardwalk to have pizza or whatever, and there's something pretty bad, and it might be there for a couple days. Encourage nearby businesses to help, and maybe even give them a special quick response number that they can text with a photo and a location if they see trash problems that they can't take care of themselves. Second, under the trash topic, is that bulk and yard waste should be picked up before every major event. There should be kind of a canvas through the area, like before Bike Week or before some of the larger events, and every weekend in the summertime especially. So visitors will see a clean beachside area when they come. So here's my ask. Please ask staff to establish a better system to monitor trash receptacles in the CRA and ensure that when they are full, they're addressed promptly. Set up a schedule with Waste Pro to canvass the primary thoroughfares before every major event and Fridays to address any extra bulk or landscape pickups. Number 3. Oh, Gary, did you want to say anything about the trash or? No? Okay. Number 3, string lights across Main Street will dramatically improve the appeal of the street. We don't believe it's necessary to wait until the streetscape project is complete to install the lights across the street. With some effort, it should be possible to install electrical hookups in such a way that they won't be dug up when work begins. Providing a welcoming environment for visitors and residents will increase foot traffic and improve our image as a destination. So please ask staff to work on getting the street lights hung sooner rather than later, rather than waiting for the streetscape to be complete across Main Street. Number 5, pier advertising on the side of the pier. We think allowing advertising on the side of the pier is a great way to generate income and support public art. We would like to see art murals that are sponsored, maybe incorporating a sponsor's logo in the art, alongside visually appealing advertising that enhances the beachside scene. We understand a larger pier replacement project is in our near future, but until then, the blank white plywood on the side could both generate funds and make the core tourist area more attractive. So please ask staff to look into sponsored advertising and decorative murals along the sides of the pier. Uh-oh. Am I missing a page? Hold on. Oh, here's number 4. I skipped one. Sorry. This is where I need the pictures. We are asking that the unsightly electrical and utility junction boxes be wrapped with attractive artwork. This will discourage graffiti. Ms. Armstrong, Angela Armstrong, has informed us that design work has already begun, but I'm going to take a moment to share a personal observation. All the box wraps in Daytona Beach shores are simply pittosporum. It's a type of a hedge, leaves. I mean, maybe we've seen them if we've driven through Daytona Beach shores, and it makes the box sort of look like a hedge. You almost don't notice it. No writing or logo on it, and those look great. We have enough signage. There's signs everywhere. These would sort of blend into the surroundings. We could use blanket images of our favorite wildflowers, gaillardias, periwinkles, and dune sunflowers, which is what you're seeing here. The design could be used on any box, regardless of size or shape, so they don't have to be redesigned for every box. It's simple and beautiful, and attached, up here you'll see some examples using photos actually taken in my garden. I'm sure we could find some high-resolution photos that could be used. You could save money and staff hours by letting nature provide the beauty. So please ask staff to provide design samples to the redevelopment board. Whether they decide to use this or whether they do signage, we'd kind of like to take a look at them before finalization, including some that are simple nature images. So that's 4. Safety patrols. Next one. We all agreed that safety is a priority for a thriving tourist area, and a dedicated private security or police patrol for the boardwalk and Main Street area would be a great benefit. Whether it's a dedicated police officer or mobile security officer in a golf cart patrolling the area, or maybe even both, we believe that expense is warranted and will go a long way to improving, making the area more appealing to visitors and residents. And it sounds like you might be hearing a presentation from Chief Young on this very topic during your commission meeting tonight. It sounds like he came and spoke to us about it, and I think you're going to hear about that tonight. So finally, this is my last item. Thank you. Parking lots. Did you think I wasn't going to bring up parking lots? Well, the consensus on our board is that we do not need more parking. But we all agreed that the parking situation that a visitor finds in our area is not one we're super proud of. So what's the answer? We tried to bullet point it for you, and we would greatly appreciate you asking staff to move on some of these initiatives. We feel that all public parking options in the CRA should, number 1, be clearly marked with recognizable uniform signage with contact information, hours, and price. That they should be bounded by posts or low-maintenance landscaping with a clear in and out to the parking areas. They should have a permeable surface wherever possible. Paving is not required. It can be shells, rocks, beachy stuff. And that the parking options should be searchable in an app to connect people to available parking. That's kind of bringing us into the, I'm sure you have IT guys that could handle that, and we'd love to see that. So, then lastly, on the parking issue, there are some mentions in the LDC and Code of Ordinances regarding parking lots, but they're scattered, unclear, and incomplete. There are different requirements for event parking and everyday parking. There are scofflaws that get away with violations year after year, leaving us with many properties that look unsightly. These do not improve our tax base, but still the owners make a boatload of money using them. Unifying and enforcing beautification and maintenance standards for parking would clean up a large volume of blight in the redevelopment area. So please ask staff to look into improving the visitor parking experience in the beachside CRA and amending or adding appropriate text in the LDC if necessary. And I'm about to wrap up, but I forgot to ask Tom if he wanted to say anything. We're good? Okay. So to wrap up, I hope this has been a helpful and insightful presentation, and that a representative from the redevelopment board will be asked to do the same again, whether it's me or a future chair. I very much appreciate the privilege. In future presentations, I promise to bring your attention positive progress on any of the items that were mentioned. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you. Anybody? Nope.
Well, one second. I appreciated your insights and the board's insights. I think it's very helpful because you're actually down there as a resident, and then also the business community weighing in. So I appreciate that presentation. I hope to see you here again.
Thank you very much.
And I loved the wrappings. Great touch. And I would even go so far as to say, I know you said we had enough signage, but since we've been talking about branding for so long, I would like to see a mixture maybe of both. The branding with the city, some of the city logos, as well as some of those beautiful wrappings that you showed. Also, I want to know, how did you all determine that you didn't have any more need for parking?
Well, there was somebody, Tom did a, kind of a survey of how many spots we have available. And do you want to say something about that, Tom, since you did the research? This is Tom Caffrey, our fellow board member.
Hey, Tom Caffrey, commission staff. So we did a map. I sent it to Angela Armstrong and Ken Thomas. The Main Street Merchants did a map a while back, and we highlighted in red all of the parking lots that are available. And there's a significant amount of parking lots, to the board's understanding, that are allowable sometimes of the year, not allowable other times of the year. And so it's a really big number. Happy to give you guys the map as well, but Angela and Ken do have it, but there's a significant number when you start looking at what's there. So don't really have any more to add. She did a great presentation, so I don't.
She did.
And the stringing, sorry.
She did, but when you say that are allowable sometimes?
Yeah, so like the corner of the 200 block of Main Street, right there where the old gas station was, the old motorcycle shop that got knocked down. It was an old Art Deco style building that used to be there. That's now a dirt lot. That opens up during major events, and it's allowable parking. There's certain areas of the street and that neighborhood that are allowable parking lots that get a permit for those lots during those times. And so normally they don't have parking there year round. So certain lots are actually available for events only.
Is that what we want to promote?
I believe, personally, I can't speak for everybody, but I believe as many people as we can get to the beach side, the better we can. Growing up here, you used to be able to park on every street, everywhere on all of Beachside, up and down the streets, all over the A1A. I mean, there was parking everywhere. So I have a different view than some people, so I can only give my personal view.
No, but my question is that the fact that the lot is only used sometimes for parking, and then it's not used permanently, it doesn't give us permanent parking.
Agreed.
Okay.
We'd love to have it open all the time. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and just a note on that. So there are large swaths of land that are only used during events, and then if they were going to be developed, I think the idea was that they would use them for event parking until they became developed, because you tear a building down, you don't say, I'm going to tear this building down and use it for parking. You say, oh, I'm going to build on it, and then you end up using it for parking year after year. So if they are going to be empty, why not activate them? And allow a person with 4 or 5 residential lots together that they're just using for parking during bike week to come and say, I would like to put a nice border around this and a sign up that said city parking and charge a little, maybe, they could have grants for people who wanted to use a swing arm type thing, so people could come in and scan their card and park. But it's just a look at advancing our options in Daytona Beach, because right now they're kind of scruffy, I guess is the way I would put it.
Okay.
So my next thing was the app, which I thought was a great idea because it moves us, apps, I believe, for parking really moves us forward. Are you thinking of an app that people would pay on the app to park? I think it's a great idea that people can go on an app and find where there is parking so people aren't riding around for 35, 45 minutes, an hour trying to find parking. That's a spot on. But to further that, are you looking at something where people would actually be able to pay on the app? Because I've done that before, and I think that's a really good idea.
I've done it in other cities as well, and I think that would be up to the city staff and the IT department to see how far could we go. Maybe we start with a trial period where we have one big lot that is actually doing that, and people will be like, "Wow, Daytona, now I can go boop 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 and pay." And then you also avoid the situation where people are sitting there and collecting cash.
That's what I'm thinking.
Which if I were collecting a lot of cash, I'm supposed to kind of report it and have a business or a BTR or a license of some kind, which we don't see with many of these pay parking lots. So you kind of, you circumvent that and make it all kind of legit. Makes us look better, right?
It does. And I think the stringing of the lights is low-hanging fruit. So when you said that, and I see in here you asked for that to start happening kind of immediately, is what you said. And I do think that that's something that we could start moving with kind of immediately. And I think it gives a great homey feel to that community in that area. One thing you can do with lights that's inexpensive is make the area more comfortable, more homey, and make it feel more where people want to be there. And people love lights. It's inviting and not only safe. And the more lights you have, it's
Think
safe.
about how beautiful it looks when you put the Christmas lights on. All of a sudden, the street looks like, I want to be there.
Absolutely. So I do think that that's something that we can look at. Well, I'm saying that. Hopefully, it's 6 other people up here, but I do think that that's something that's low-hanging fruit that we could move towards kind of immediately. I love this presentation. It's very good. You had some really spot-on great ideas, and I'm looking forward to supporting some of it.
Well, our board has had some really lively, good discussions, and it's just exciting to bring it directly to you because, you get emails from us kind of pitter-patter, but I really appreciate the opportunity to bring it directly to you.
Thank you.
I thought Commissioner May wanted to say something. I just wanted to add to what Commissioner Henry and Commissioner May have said. I served on a citizen board before I sat up here, and we appreciate your comments. It helps us to think and to keep you in mind when we make our decisions. And a lot of the things that you've shared with us tonight, I can see them in other CRAs. So I thank you for the information, and we thank you, Amy, for always willing to come forward and kind of wake us up.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, ma'am. Please do.
Okay. I just wanted to thank Ms. Pyle and the Beachside Redevelopment Board for their input and suggestions. I think all of the requests are reasonable, and I think these small changes will make a big impact. So is there any way that we could maybe make a motion for any of the items that were presented today to move forward? Or request that staff come back to us with some pricing on these things to see where we could go ahead and start working on these smaller projects?
The pricing
Yes,
would be
there
great.
is room for that, and I think we need to say which ones you want to prioritize and give staff. I didn't hear anything I didn't like.
Could we also get a list of what they're already doing? So for example, the police chief is coming up. Are we working on I'm going to say it again, are we working on wraps for the boxes? Are we working on those right now? So maybe some things are already in the works, maybe? the Waste Pro too, because Ms. Paris brought that up last time.
And I also think, in addition to that, with the parking, I think that too is pretty easily done, because they have now companies that you just use their software for parking for your city. So that's something I would like to see staff look into as well.
Is there a motion?
We need to make a motion, and we need to,
I move that we try to, I move that we move forward on as many of these items as possible, and maybe staff can come back with a list of when they intend to start, and the cost, please, and the cost of each item.
I second the motion.
we have a motion and a second. Cyber Lady is late, so it's Commissioner May and Reed made the motion, Reed the second. Okay? We have a motion, we have a second, we'll have to take public input. John Nicholson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. Realize that we've already discussed the parking, because she suggested that if there's several neighborhood lots together, put a parking lot. We don't want that, all right?
We don't want
It grew the last time 1 mile north, 1 mile south. So it went from University to Silver Beach. That's way too big, all right? So even if we confine it to the CRA itself, the whole concept of the CRA was to enhance it, to make it better, to improve it. So when you put these lots in, we have temporary lots that are on Main Street that are only 40 years old. Now, I don't consider 40 years as temporary, all right? So once you put these lots and they're making money off of it, they don't have to build. They're paying their taxes, and they're low taxes. A house is more tax worthy than an empty lot, all right? Secondly, especially Bike Week, all right? I had neighbors that had bikes, and at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 Harley Davidsons starting up will wake a neighbor, all right? So when you do this, realize that there are 4 neighbors wherever they put these lots, both sides and in front and back. You don't want to create more problems than it's worth. Now, the wraps for the bold, those flowers were fantastic. I think that the tourists would love to see what we grow here, what's available, that they can put, up north they put them in greenhouses. They can't put them outside, and they grow naturally for us. So I think it would be a nice promotion for us. And lastly, we need to do something. So
I didn't hear what he said.
whatever you can do, please do it.
John, go back for a minute. What were you saying about growth? Greenhouses? What were you saying? I didn't.
Oh, the Northerners, when I was in Miami, I could take a stick, put it in the ground, and it grows. My relatives would come down from New York. Well,
okay.
We have to bring this inside. We have to put it in the greenhouse. We don't have to do all that stuff.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, John, and we'll take everyone's comments under advisement.
I have a curious question. So if somebody is now making money from the lot, does that become investment property that they're living in? Is that if they have a lot, they're homestead exempted, and now they're making money as a commercial property, does that change their homestead? I'm just curious. I'm just wondering, does that affect it?
The requirement for homestead is that you live on the property.
Then that's it. And whether you're making income doesn't affect it.
The Florida statutes were amended a few years ago to greatly expand the scope of a homeowner's ability to operate a business within their property and to restrict the municipality's authority to regulate that use, those commercial uses. If they have significant off-site impacts in terms of increased traffic or noise compared to normal residential use, then the municipality still has authority. But
Interesting, right? Topics come back. So I remember a few, maybe 2 seasons ago, I call them seasons, I think Commissioner Strickland brought up the idea of people being allowed to do parking in the neighborhood. Do you recall that? Mm-hmm. So is this essentially the same thing? And at the time, I'm not sure that what we thought of it at the time, but I know the topic came up. I do recall the topic coming up before, but I'm not quite sure what the response was to it at that time. And remember, things change, right? Things are not so great, then they're great. Seasons change. Just a thought.
If I'm not mistaken, what Commissioner Strickland was referring to, and you can correct me, sir, if I'm wrong, is when they're like festivals and homecoming, we looked at how other universities allow homeowners to use their own property for people to park there just for that short term during like Florida State, University of Florida, Bethune-Cookman. When so much is going on and all these people are in town and you lack parking, it just allowed the homeowners to generate some additional funding by using their own lot to let someone park there. It's just a temporary thing, just for when that event takes place.
Were to, just as a conversation, if we were to follow through on what the board is suggesting, the redevelopment board, the beachside board is suggesting, are they saying they'd like that all the time then? Instead of it being temporary, it would be all year long with the same concept. Is that what they're thinking? Is that what I understood?
That's what the gentleman said he wouldn't mind having.
Okay. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That's just personal, okay.
Yeah, the residents don't want that.
Yeah. May I? Yeah, none of what I mentioned was about homeowners using their lots for parking.
Okay.
This is, lots that are currently vacant. Some of them are residential, some of them are maybe, because I said 5 residential lots, I think that might have been confusing. Because sometimes it's where houses came down and they're vacant now and they're still technically residential or commercial.
And I'd like to see an aerial view of what does that look like, the lots that she's referring to, so that we can see how that affects us. Okay, thank you. She'll get it to me. We'll get it
Our
all of
next
us.
speaker is Sandy Murphy.
Before she gets started, please, I have kind of walked that back about parking in neighborhoods and stuff, especially during bike week. Because if your neighbor has a few motorcycles parked there and they leave it at 3 o'clock in the morning, they'll blow you right out of bed. That's not a good idea. As far as some of the other things that happen over on the Main Street area within 2 or 3 blocks of there, if they can car or two, and they'll be leaving at a reasonable hour, and the cars aren't loud. Most cars aren't loud nowadays. That would be something that I would be for. But as far as the motorcycles parking in people's yards and right next to the people next door and stuff, that is not that would not be good, and we'd have a lot of blowback about that. And also it needs to be kept within the CRA boundary, if not closer to wherever the festival or whatever was going on was being held.
Okay. Ms. Murphy?
Good evening, Sandra Murphy, 136 Park Avenue. I wanted to remind you that none of what was talked about this evening was new. You've had presentations from the beachside, from the County Beachside Board, from the Mayor's Beachside Group, from many people, especially regarding those lights and the parking situation. The lights we've been pointing out for 3 years are low-hanging fruit. What I would say to you tonight, because I think that was a great way to coalesce all those ideas and put them in front of you as a package, is please set some deadlines. Because what has happened in the past is other things come up as a priority, those get pushed back, and sooner or later, nothing is done because they're so buried so far in the heap. So please, set some type of deadline for the staff to bring back those items that you've requested so that it keeps on some kind of schedule. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like some of those ideas. They could be used in any of the CRAs. What about the second meeting in February? Second meeting in February? All right, we want a presentation.
I just want to just talk about those lights for a second. We were all present maybe 8 years ago. Maybe 8 years ago, 7 years, around there. Mr. Chisholm was still here, and we talked about the lights. And I think, if I'm thinking correctly, there was a reason they couldn't be done at that time, because they had to go to the buildings. They had to get permission from each person from the top of the roof. So I went to Sanford, and Sanford has a very interesting approach, and I brought pictures. This was 7 years ago. Brought pictures back, and the pictures were, they had freestanding posts, and you could attach them post to post across the street without infringing upon the business itself. but then we didn't do anything about it. So there is a way to do it without using the tops of the buildings, which we knew about 7 years ago. So.
And maybe we can address that again. And we've also talked about these reps. I've talked about them. Commissioner Henry's talked about them. You've talked about them. All right.
Well, you've given them an action item. They'll bring it back the first meeting in February, and so second meeting, and we're going to move forward because you guys have wanted this, and so put your foot down tonight. Staff, let's get it done. These are things that are reasonable, and they're things that this commission wants, and the community wants them, and let's make it happen. Okay. We have a motion. We have a second. Do we have any additional conversation regarding this item? Okay. All those who are in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are in opposition, same sign. This motion carries 7-0.
Okay. We're going to move on to item number 7, which is our administrative items. Item 7A is a redevelopment and neighborhood services approval for use of CRA funds to purchase for the purchase contract for properties located at 2 South Atlantic Avenue. This is a resolution approving expenditure of up to $4,369,000, inclusive of closing costs and due diligence costs in land acquisition Main Street Community Redevelopment Area Trust Fund for the City of Daytona Beach's purchase of properties located at 2 South Atlantic Avenue, 16 South Coates, and South Coates Avenue from Myra Properties the second LLC, and providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I'm sure we have a slew of speakers.
We do. My first speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is, I believe it's Gabe Wasnick.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. Let me start out with, yes, I approve of the idea of buying this property and the other 2 properties, okay? Having said that, all right, we had an opportunity 35 years ago to have purchased the entire block from Harvey to Main Street for $750,000. And we didn't do it. All right? We didn't purchase a vacant lot, a building burned down. It was right next to Teresa Dolan's property, which was like half of a city block. It was $7,000 and we didn't buy it. Another piece of property next to a different one, it was $15,000 and we didn't buy it. It was too expensive. Well, I'm sorry, in this day and age, even back then, $7,000 for a lot is not expensive. 15 is not expensive. It appears to many of us that $4 million for 3 lots is totally out of the question. It's too high. It really isn't, especially for what you're going to do. All right? A1A is an expensive lot. Anything on A1A is going to be expensive. Main Street, because of Bike Week, et cetera, is an expensive lot. Anything on Main Street, you're going to pay. So these are not out of the question. Plus what you're going to be doing with it in the future. It sets you up to have enough property, because if you realize there's almost nothing between Cruisin' Cafe and Harvey. There is a single house at the other end of Harvey. That's it. So that entire block is empty, except for the buildings on Main Street. We have a ability to, we're renting 50 parking spaces. We made parking at the far end for Joe's Crab Shack, if you remember. So there are 50 parking spaces already there. There are 2 lots between it, 2 large lots, one of which is grass, and the other one, are we buying that one? Somebody asked me, I said, I don't know. With the parcel number, I know squat, all right? But the people that own Cruisin' Cafe owned that lot. Are we buying it? It's only logical that we do. If it doesn't make sense, if there are 125 spaces that are available, all we have to do is asphalt it in, all right? We have 55, 125 gives you what, 180? and we're looking for 200? So why tear down the building if we have the 200 already? All we've got to do is pave it. It's a lot cheaper to pave. And you don't want an empty lot on Main Street. It kills it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Gabe Wozniak, and on deck is Tom Caffrey.
Good evening. I wish I was here on more joyous circumstances, but I don't think anyone really comes here because they want to have a good time. My name is Gabe Wozniak. I was born and raised in this beautiful city, and I stand here today as the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Volusia County and as a professional in this matter with a master's degree of hospitality and tourism management. I'm here to voice my absolute opposition to this purchase, and frankly, this proposal isn't just a bad idea. It is an insult to every taxpayer in Daytona Beach. Tonight, you are asking to take $4.4 million of our money to buy a piece of commercial property that the private sector has clearly rejected. Let's look at this through a business lens. Your own appraisal states the highest and best use of this land is retail. In the hospitality industry, we follow market signals. If a business at this location made financial sense, a private developer would be breaking ground on it right now. They aren't. So, why does the City Commission think it has the magic touch? Why do you think you can succeed where the free market has walked away? When the city buys this land, you are inflicting double the damage on the taxpayer. First, you are speculating with millions of dollars that isn't yours. Second, you're removing this property from the tax rolls. That means you are spending our tax dollars to purchase it and then losing future tax revenue every single year that you own it. You are burning the candle at both ends. But my issue isn't just with your lack of business sense. It is the absolute lack of self-awareness regarding your current financial standing. We are standing here in the middle of a humiliation. We've all seen the reports. The city lost control of its own credit cards. We saw accounts where 10 non-employees were spending public funds. We saw $76,000 blown by a single person in 1 year. We saw our tax dollars vanish into expensive dinners, hotels, and personal luxuries because no one was watching the store. You have demonstrated a total failure of internal controls. It is so severe that the Florida legislature is forcing a state audit because they do not trust you to do your jobs. And in the middle of that crisis, while the state auditors are literally preparing to investigate your books, you have the nerve to ask for $4.4 million more. Think about the message this sends. You cannot manage a credit card limit, yet you want to manage a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. You are asking us to trust you with a complex acquisition when you haven't even proven you can track a lunch receipt. You have lost the benefit of the doubt. You've lost the moral high ground. It is not the government's job to buy up land. It is your job to fix the roads, ensure public safety, and clean up your own house. Cooperate with the audit, fix the books, and stop trying to spend money you have not earned the right to touch. I urge you to read the room here. Until this house is clean, not one more dime should be spent on visionary projects. Respect the taxpayers, and please vote no.
Our next speaker is Tom Caffrey, and on deck is Amy Pyle.
Good evening. Tom Caffrey, 816 512 Main Street. I want to say greetings to Mayor, Commission, and staff. I got notes here because if I get off track, I get off track. So we're going to do this way. I'm currently a member of our Beachside Redevelopment Board, and this was not put in front of us in last week's meeting. It was quite shocking to see it on the agenda for tonight and on Monday night with no previous discussion on such an important matter. If the iconic cruising cafe is purchased by the city of Daytona, dozens of people will be put out of a job. Local distribution companies, food service, beverage, and alcohol will lose another point of premise sale. The properties come off the tax rolls. Families walking on A1A will only have one place to eat in the area, which is Hog Heaven during the day. It further promotes a food desert in this area through more speculation, in this case by the city, to purchase an active business that's not redevelopment, that's called bulldoze and wait, which the city is again speculating and has tried for 20 plus years in this exact corridor. Take a look at ISB and our Beachside's massive amount of vacant lots. Another parking lot in A1A is not what we need as a city. The city only collected $70,000 in parking revenue last year. According to the CRA budget, they project it to only do $50,000 in this upcoming year. I wonder if that's a labor and manage, or is it just a net? Like, what are we paying on that? Is that the actual number? And that was it released in the CRA budget. The Ocean Walk, who recently lost Johnny Rockets, has actually requested the county council to remove parking fees in their garage because the businesses say it's the main deterrent for people to visit them, as it sits mostly vacant most of the year outside of staff and major events. We don't have a parking problem. If this purchase goes through Saturday night, all four corners of the street, so you have two corners that are currently unoccupied. If you knock this building down, Saturday night, they celebrate their faith. So that building is dark on Saturday nights. So main streets aren't supposed to be desolate, waiting for big business. These things are for small business owners, locals, art, amusements, entertainment. According to Buc-ee's, they had 5.2 million people walk through their doors in 1 year. The county of Volusia had 4.7 last year. And so for me as a person, parking isn't the solution. And that's what this is currently slated to be. The city doesn't need this property at racetrack prices. We can overpay for it anytime we want. It will still be there. Please don't do this. What we can do as a city is invest this money into the land south of the boardwalk on the ocean with experiences, activities, market stalls, vendors, things that the community wants. Please rethink this purchase of the property, and thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Amy Powell, and on deck is Paul Mark.
Hi, Amy Pyle, 136 South Grandview. Okay, I won't bring up that I think 4.4 million is too much, and I won't bring up that it wasn't brought to our redevelopment board, because both of those have been mentioned. A couple other things that might interest you on this. I want to let you know that in all the years that I've been on the Bike Week and Biketoberfest task force, I've never seen an application from Cruisin' Cafe for parking or itinerant vending. So please check the section in the potential lease about whether the city will allow the tenant to participate in Bike Week 2026 and what that even means. In addition, Cruisin' Cafe does not have a BTR for pay parking on their vacant lot. They have routinely charged parkers to pay on their unimproved lots on South Coates without a permit. So please be clear if you will allow them to charge for parking during Bike Week, because to do so, they should have applied for participation in the Bike Week master plan. I'm a little confused about how that happens. One more thing, there is a lot, actually two more things. There is a lot at 14 South Coates where the livery used to stand. I don't know, I got up and spoke on this numerous times. So this in between the property, the vacant property that you are including with Cruisin' Cafe and the buildings on Main Street, there is a narrow piece of property where a building stood, a very old building that was torn down several years ago, and now it's just a concrete slab. But that is not included in your purchase. So if you make this purchase, you've basically, you get Cruisin' Cafe, you get these vacant lots, but then there's the same owners will still own this little sliver, and I'm wondering what their intent is to leave that little gap tooth out of the smile, or however you want to look at it. So this lot it's sandwiched between the proposed lots included in this purchase and the buildings on Main Street. So please make clear with them what is their intent for this small property and why is it not included in the sale. Looking forward, Lastly, there are numerous code issues this business should have been cited for, but instead they'll be rewarded with an exorbitant payday for a property that they allowed to decay. There's no reason for the city to hold a lease on a blighted property after, you're going to purchase it now and then allow them to stay there through April and engage in illegal pay parking on vacant lots in a property that's it's got, should have code violations. They'll probably say there's no active code violations. Doesn't mean the violations aren't there. It just means they haven't been cited. So if you decide not to purchase this property, it can be cleaned up with some active code enforcement, somebody going in and really taking a look at how the building's painted, how is it maintained, health violations, and so, could be a better corner on A1A if we got it cleaned up.
Our next speaker is Paul Merck, and on deck is Thomas Russell.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for taking me. I don't know if this has to do with exactly what we're talking about today, but I know it says redevelopment and neighborhood. If you look at the neighborhood around Main Street, I believe that's really your real problem with the whole area. It's all run down and beat up, and the shrubs, and no one cuts their lawn, and paint isn't right on every property. And if you look at Daytona as a whole, from University to Silver Beach, we have for rent signs everywhere on every property. We're not renting no one's being able to rent. Back in the day, through the 90s and the early 2000s, you put a for rent sign in front of your property, it was gone. We would rent them right away. But since we've had all this redevelopment that I love, and I'm not against it, I've been waiting for it for 35 years, everything by LPGA and all the redevelopment area there that's putting all these huge apartment buildings up, no one's renting beachside apartments. No one's investing in that whole area that's all run down. The only thing I was going to bring up is it'd be wonderful if we would allow Airbnbs to be purchased and developed in those areas, because I believe that would bring people to the area that would combust Main Street. And that's really all I have to say. Anything from A1A to Halifax, from University to Silver Beach, if that would be allowed to be an Airbnb area, I think it would bring a lot of profit to the city, and also for the, because I believe we have to pay per unit. If we rent it, money comes to the city. I think it would help out the whole area, and I think it would beautify the whole area. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Sir, are you for or against? Are you saying you're against?
I'm for Airbnb. I'm for Airbnb.
Are you for or against the purchase?
So for the purchase itself, I believe that's going to be on the council if they believe that there's a profit in this. I know in my own idea, I was actually there the day that Danny Mayera bought the property. I used to be one of his employees. I remember seeing the check. I know the number. And I know for 35 years, really and truly in Daytona Beach, it really hasn't gained that much. So it is what it is. The number's the number. I just don't know if it's going to benefit the area, if it's just going to be a parking lot or a park. I believe, just like the last people said, that we have already 3 corners that are dead, two corners that are dead, and we do have Peony on the other side that's very religious. He's been religious since I've known him since the beginning. 35 years here, he's been a religious man, and he does not believe in being open from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. So we really do have a dark beginning to Main Street. I love the idea of putting the string lights. I love all the lighting ideas. But if you're going to put something there, it's got to be bang, to make people kind of come down our street. That's all I'm saying. No one's walking down Main Street. It's dark as night all the time. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Thomas Russell, and on deck is Sandy Murphy.
Thomas Russell, 603 North Beach Street. I think it's a great idea if you're investing your money. As the gentleman just mentioned, we already own, as a city, a very large building that's been there for 10, 15 years. It has not been occupied. And it's nice to have plans, but you have to have a total plan. And without a total plan as to what's going to be done, a little piece that isn't going to generate an income, that much money, you got to get an awful lot of rent. Who's going to pay that kind of rent for that little cafe if that's what you're going to keep open? All right, the old motorcycle saddle company, it's still not being used. It's sit there, it's empty. There's parking behind that building that says no parking. Who owns that? City. So I think it's a great idea, but I think you need a long-range plan. And I'll bring up a couple of other things that I've seen done. There was a great design of expanding, and I hate to go to my CRA area, the Blue Road CRA. They were going to put condos all around that root canal. Someone spent a lot of money, and that someone was the city of Daytona Beach. Then there's another plan that came out to put a boat base in there. Who spent that money? I believe the city of Daytona Beach. So a lot of these plans are not thought out properly, and I think if you get, and you should be able to get some volunteers to help you, some investors. A man who's developing property can sit down and say, hey, look, that's a no-brainer. Well, let's do it. Or maybe take on a partner. But just to go and buy the property without a plan that's going to generate some income, it'll be no different than the motorcycle seat company that the property was purchased for. And I don't want to beat my drum, but I don't think I would buy that cafe for millions of dollars, because that's what it'll be used as. Even a nice bar can't make that much money. Okay, all right, thank you.
Our next speaker is Sandy Murphy, and on deck is Drew, is it Seamer?
Good evening, Sandy Murphy, 136 Park Avenue. I am definitely in favor of the purchase of this property, and it's interesting how different people see it so differently. You know, Mr. Wozniak said that he sees it as a waste. I see it as an investment. Tom Caffrey said that cafe is iconic. I see it as a shabby mess. So depending on how you see that street, you might have a different opinion. I think that if you're really serious about all the things that you have talked about over time, making Main Street better, making it more of a destination, you really have to do this. You are getting parking as part of this, but parking doesn't have to be on A1A. What's on A1A can be very exciting. And one thing that I would implore you to do is to work out a better system for securing strong responses to RFPs. I know we send out 1 million notices to people, but I don't think that we market to the people that we want to see come here and to a vision that we have. And I believe that that is the missing ingredient in some of these revitalization efforts. And so I would really encourage you to bring in a specialist who can recruit the kind of companies that we are looking for. In the meantime, you know, Boxy Park is one idea, but Mr. Caffrey also mentioned the dearth of amusements on the boardwalk, and this gives us a temporary space to activate some amusements and give us something down there for the families. So I would encourage you to consider that as well. But I'm strongly in favor. I think you have to take the opportunity while it's in front of you and grab it and go. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Drew Seamer, sorry. And on deck is Gary Koliopoulos.
Hello. I go down to Main Street just about every day. It's Drew Seamer, and it's what 9. We're new to the area, and we are opening a store on Main Street. So basically, we go down there every day, and I used to think that there wasn't a lot of parking, but after being down there, I do see that there is a lot of parking, and mainly I see that the giant parking lots that we have around the Ocean Center are almost always closed all day and all night. There's a barricade in front of them. So, I mean, if we're talking about parking, I think we have plenty of it around that area. As far as knocking down the cafe to put parking lots on that street, I just don't think it would be, in my opinion, a great idea. I think businesses would be more effective there than parking. But that's just my opinion on the situation.
Our next speaker is Gary Koliopoulos, and on deck is Helen Humphreys.
Hello, Gary Koliopoulos, 101 South Atlantic Avenue. I also am on the Beachside Redevelopment Board and couldn't agree with the previous board members on the improvements that we suggested. And thank you very much for making them more of a reality now, because being in business, I've got a retail shop on the beachside. These are the same things I've complained about for 10, 15 years. And I know previous redevelopment boards have complained about the exact same things. And thank you very much for making an effort to put a timeline on some of these improvements, because maybe that was never done before. So that could be the most helpful. And, Daytona, the beachside, we're not in the best place, actually. We definitely are struggling. And when we sit on the board, we figure, what kind of small improvements can we make, low-hanging fruit, that are the easiest to make? And the suggestions that they mentioned, were very effective. Concerning the purchase of the cruising cafe, that just came about, and haven't had too much time to process it. But we could definitely use the excess parking that they have on the street behind there. As far as tearing down an 11,500 square foot building that would cost you almost $3 million to reproduce, it might not be in the best shape, but I implore you to find one real estate investor that would sit there and say, that makes sense to tear down a building like that. That would be the stupidest thing that we've ever done, and we've got a string of stupid things that we've done in Daytona. So we need to start making better decisions moving forward that would help, improve our destination as a tourism mecca, which, we've got a long way to go. So please, if you do consider buying the property, do not tear that building down, because all you would be doing would be gaining 40 spaces, waiting for someone to respond to an RFP that I may not live long enough to actually see happen, which is similar to a lot of things in Daytona. So thank you.
Our next speaker is Helen Humphreys, and on deck is Jenny Nazak.
Helen Humphreys, 500 Main Street. Well, I've heard a lot of good things here. I just want to toss a couple of things. You remember way back when I wanted to have the sidewalk beside my building redone. I managed to fall on it once. I'm pretty agile. I managed to roll. I would be happy to see that done. We used to have a kiosk down on Atlantic Avenue that told that there were businesses down the street. I will tell you, if you have an attractive building and you have a good product, there is plenty of business, plenty of people that come on Main Street. But if at the pier we had a city sign that said there were stores further up the street, because a lot of people come out of the Hilton, they don't look around, they walk part of the way up Main Street, there's a lot of empty buildings, they turn around and go back. There's the pier sticking out there. The city would put a sign and said, walk down that street, there's some awesome buildings down there, businesses. So I'm just tossing some things out. My sidewalk would be wonderful, the sign on the pier saying, we're down there. And the other thing is, we used to have the police on bicycles. It was great. They would ride down the street, come into my store, circle around, talk about what was happening. Now the police are wonderful, but they do drive by in the car and they don't look left or right for the most part. So I think money well spent would be having them ride down there and get to talk to us like they used to do. So as far as what we do with Cruising Cafe, it's still so new to me, I haven't come to a definite decision one way or the other. I'm going home to cook.
Okay. Our next speaker is Jenny Nazak, and on deck is William Biddorf.
Jenny Nazak, 501 Harvey. I am a full-time resident of the Main Street neighborhood, and I am among many homeowners who are extremely passionate about living and improving our properties and supporting our local businesses and revitalizing our neighborhood. Please do not purchase these parcels. You will be contributing to the devitalization of an urban beachside neighborhood that needs more small parcels, more good on-ramps for small businesses to set up, more businesses. We need more density of more different storefronts. We do not need to be having wider swaths of land, and definitely not city. You guys don't need to be purchasing some more land. If it's about the Corbin building guy wanting more parking, I think we've done enough for that guy. We need to see him actually do some stuff. Like if he really wants to set up a business there, he needs to do what small businesses do, which is get to work and set up a business. We don't need to be courting these people. We need to be letting the free market do its thing. It's been sad. I'm an urban person. I always say that. I've actually watched Beachside go backwards. Like, we lose buildings. We lose one building after another. We get these wide empty lots. But on a cheerful note, there is a house being built on the long beleaguered city-owned empty lot next to my house. There's finally a house being built. And every day I go say hi to Mr. Collins and all the people working there and say, thank you guys. Every family that comes to this neighborhood, and there are many families, is going to be supporting the health of Main Street. And we want to see more businesses, and we do have enough parking. I'm really grateful for the research that has been done about the parking. I've been talking for years about a parking app, and I love that people are talking about a parking app. Let's do it. What a great idea. Thanks a lot.
Okay, our final speaker is William Biddorf.
My name is William Biddorf. I live at 402 East International Speedway Boulevard. I've lived here most of my life. I've had the honor of knowing most of you here. So I would say that, first off, I trust you, all of you here. And I know this, they talk about the audit, but I can't see where any of you are guilty, because myself, the last 20 years, I got screwed over on 326 South Grandview, where my zoning was split in half. Half was commercial and half was residential. And the commission here and Mr. Fiecher saved my church and my charity. So it's part of my inspiration, where I started a church on Grandview. Essentially, if we don't, my late friend, Doug Korsak, Kasarik, that just recently passed away, he once told me that you either grow or die. It's change. I trust the city leadership to decide really what needs to be done. The education of your staff and this commission. I trust. That's why we helped elect you, actually. So my faith in you. I know that you all have integrity and honesty. So please keep moving forward. I don't want to see Daytona die. I appreciate you. Thank you.
That was my final speaker, Mr. Mayor.
For certain.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. What you have before you today, Mayor, is an opportunity for the city to purchase a property that we deem blighted. I first want to say the property that we're purchasing that's facing Atlantic Boulevard will not be a parking lot. There's vacant property on Coates that we are considering placing parking. But the property that's facing Atlantic Avenue will be for a mixed-use project, retail, could be some multifamily, mostly entertainment, eating and drinking establishments. So that prime piece of property will be something that our visitors, people who live in this community who want a place to eat or to have some type of entertainment, we're going to utilize that space for that.
So is there a future vision? I recall that in November I had a twisted ankle, just like I think you have now. Couldn't go to that. Hope you're not in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah. When we had those meetings on Main Street, was this a part of that visioning in terms of that property, or does that piece of property fit into a bigger plan that we have?
I believe you're referring to the beautification meeting. The beautification meeting was to address the street beautification and not necessarily uses of any of those parcels. that are on Main Street or Atlantic. But in your redevelopment plan, it does state that the city should be utilizing trust fund money to eliminate blighted structures. And so this is just an opportunity for us as a community to purchase a piece of property, to eliminate blight that's fronting Atlantic Avenue, and to repurpose that site for potential retail commercial use.
And what do you plan to do with it in the interim until an RFP is addressed?
In the interim, we cited an example of Boxley Park. That is an activity center that is in Lake Nona, that has entertainment, it has food vendors, and it's just basically for temporary use until we have a permanent use for that particular property. And when I speak of permanent use, there will be a structure that will be built on that particular property, which we will certainly would not be in the hands of the city. We would recruit someone to develop that property. But what we see as staff and what we're recommending to you is that this will be a starter for us to do something new on Main Street, new on Atlantic Avenue. These properties have been, as a lot of people have said, these properties have been sitting there for a while. So if the market was, hot and people were so interested in it, then they would go out and purchase. But money that we get from the tax base is to do it. What we're doing now is to acquire property for reuse of these particular uses that we're talking about.
I'm just curious. We had a workshop on December 9th, excuse me. And we were given this for the 5 CRAs, and we have a workshop on December 28th, where we're all supposed to discuss our priorities for each CRA, and we were told how much money is in every CRA. Why such a hurry when there was no transparency? I never heard about this, a lot of the residents, and it has been up for sale for at least 12, 13 years, and I'm just not getting why we couldn't wait for one more week to actually have communication and talk about this.
Well, I can tell you that as part of our redevelopment plan, the Main Street redevelopment plan is to acquire property. So properties that are within the redevelopment area the blighted areas rather, are opportunities for us. So we don't, as staff, we don't go out and telegraph that we're buying a piece of property, because we're already at a disadvantage once people know that government is trying to purchase property. So we don't stand and we don't shout about what we're doing. We try to do it discreet. We prefer having a third party do it, but oftentimes we can't. So we don't discuss those things, but I can tell you that that's not the only property that city staff has made offers on. Mm-hmm. Blighted properties throughout the Main Street CRA are eligible properties that we should be seeking to remove blighted conditions within our CRA. So.
And I completely understand
Mm-hmm.
that you wouldn't want everyone knowing when you're negotiating a property, but we do know, and the residents do know. Actually, I heard about it for 3 weeks ago because businesses called me and told me, hey, is there something going on? And since the businesses and everybody knows, and you have negotiated a price because you have given us this price, my question was, why couldn't we wait for one more week for more transparency, since we do have a workshop scheduled for next Wednesday on the 28th, where we all could have communicated more about what is going on, and so the residents would know, that's not just something where, I didn't know about this. You have never communicated, even on the December 9th. And I mean, the manager has never communicated to me regarding this property, and it is a big deal for our residents, for people that have grown up here and our Main Street and the businesses. They would like to, I mean, we just heard a presentation, and we heard from businesses that came up here and are not happy about it. I think there needs to be a little bit more discussion regarding this. I mean, I know you're doing your job, and I agree that you don't want negotiations out there, you know, because of negotiating, of course. But I just don't understand why this couldn't be pulled and another week, since we are having this workshop to discuss our CRAs.
Is anything stopping it from being pulled? Like, all she has to do is make a request, right? And then we determine
Yeah.
whether or not it can be pulled. So
But we do
that's-
have a motion on the floor, so, I mean, can I make a motion?
The motion is to approve it. We're gonna come to you in just a second, Commissioner Strickland. So the motion is, but we can get to a point to where that would be not inappropriate, would not be inappropriate.
So,
Anything
yeah,
else?
that's it. I just think there should be a little bit more discussion because this is a hot topic. And I believe in more transparency for these businesses that do stay open all year long on Main Street. And I think they should have more say and actually process this as well, that what we are planning on doing. I mean, we already bought the Corbin building, and I was up here and approved that, and thought this big old dream was gonna happen, and how many years later, and I haven't seen anything up there. So I get why they're upset. I mean, up there, they work, I mean, they work trying to keep their businesses open on Main Street. So,
Okay, Commissioner Strick?
Snap Space is interested. I heard from them today. You know, nothing has changed in the Main Street area for many, many years. And things don't just change because we want them to change. And change costs money. It's going to cost money for change over there, whether it's city money, whether it's private money, whether it's, you know, grants or whatever. So everybody wants change, but since we're talking about this now, I know there's a lot of people upset about it. The money is there to help create change in the CRA. That's why it was established. I guess it depends on which one you're talking about, but as far back, I think, as 1981. So, you know, we need to look at all of this stuff, and I don't see Big John, rest his soul, used to say that the Main Street South Atlantic CRA had spent $150 million since its origin. There's some things out there. There's some hotels, but don't forget those hotels have been foreclosed on 2 and 3 times. You know, there's you know, being in business kind of like going to gamble. It's a gamble. You put your money out there. As far as the people with Corbin building, you know, the 3 or 4 years that has gone by since the original talking to them, I would say most of that's the city's doings. You know, and there's people been saying, oh, they're changing it. They need parking. If I were going to spend $2 million, $4 million, $5 million, I think is what the total is now to put that project together, you bet your bippy I'd want some parking. If there ain't no parking, why would you put that much money in one spot? You know, I'm in a real quandary here by this. I'd like to see our Main Street in the next 2 or 3 years become one of the top 10 main streets in the state of Florida. But it's not going to happen because that's what I want or what we want. Somebody got to spend some money somewhere. Something's got to change. We can't keep doing what we're doing. Have 2 big events over there a year and expect it to change. We're going to have to build something. Somebody's going to have to invest some money. Somebody's going to have to take a chance. And I don't know who that's going to be. It may be us. It may be private. As far as the neighborhood goes, there's going to have to be some changes made with that neighborhood around Main Street because we don't have the ability to buy up those homes and do anything with them, which I can't imagine the blowback over that idea. Nobody is coming out to buy those houses up. So, you know, a lot of things are going to happen and come together for there to be change there. And I know there's a lot of people that don't, they won't change, but, you know, they don't want change. And I say they don't want change. They're not in a position to create change or don't want to take the chance to try to create change. So they're very comfortable with it that 2 times a year. A lot of money comes into this town those 2 times a year. If you got an empty lot and you can make a boatload of money and not have to do anything but cut the grass and pay the taxes, why change? You know, Mr. Anderson, he's got a parking lot over there that's been there, supposed to have been temporary. That parking lot has been there for, 25 years, I know, maybe 30 or more. You know, I saw where he was quoted in the paper saying that it was bringing in about a little over $500,000 a year. Y'all have to take me to federal court to get me to do something if I could bring in $500,000 a year on an empty lot. You know, so part of our problem is the city allowing certain things. The other problem is nobody wants to spend any money to make change, but yet we want change. So where we go from here?
Commissioner Parris.
Can you hear me, Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you now.
Okay. I want to help Commissioner Strickland make our Main Street one of the top 10 main streets. And I think the question is here, not that we're against redevelopment, but I don't see justification for purchasing this property at market value when we're in a buyer's market. And not only that, we don't have an adopted redevelopment plan for this property. We have the money, but we don't have the plans in place of what we're going to use it as the end use. A lot of times staff comes to us with these specs, with these projections, and if we don't have a plan in place, this is why things aren't getting done. Like just for an example, our property that we purchased on Earl and Peninsula, it was the old church. The church was knocked down and the property is still sitting there empty. I don't know what we're doing with that property, but it's been there for 3 years. We did acquire it. We had a projection of maybe putting market rate rentals there, and nothing's come to fruition. So with this property, I think we need to have something in place on how much things are going to cost us also, because it's not just going to be the purchase price. It's going to be if we're going to knock down the building, because I saw that that was in the agenda backup, but also, excuse me, the best and highest use according to the appraisal was to keep the building. So for me, if we don't have any kind of plan in place, like a feasible plan of what's going to be there, how much it's going to cost us, what our carrying costs are going to be, I can't approve a project like this. And I am for redeveloping and I am for change, but we also need a feasible plan that's in place because it's not good governing for us just to spend this money on a spec or on a hunch. We need to have solidified answers on what's going to give us the best return on our investment. And when I say our investment, the taxpayer and the city's investment. So that's where I stand on this. Thank you.
Mayor, Commissioner Paris makes a lot of sense, and especially the price that we are going to pay for that. I would like to see, if we decide we are going to purchase this, I would like to see another property appraisal on that property, just not one as well, because you can do some math on there, and I do not know how it got to $4,335,000.
Okay. Let me interject here. First of all, I want to express to staff that I believe that it is good to create this type of discussion without regard for what the outcome is. Because if you don't have an idea to discuss, then you will never have the community energy or input that we crave and yearn. So if we just continue to do, and whether we like it or not, whether we want the idea or not, we're here for this type of robust discussion. That is why we were elected, and that is why you all are here tonight. And it wasn't slam dunk one way or the other in terms of what people said and what they thought. So I appreciate the effort. Let me ask, how much do they pay now in taxes on that property?
I think I may have that, Mayor.
I looked for it. I didn't see it in the backup. Was it there?
I think I have that somewhere. And Mayor, just for the record, the appraisal was at $4.4 million. So the purchase price is under the appraised value.
I believe they pay on taxes for $1.8 million.
They pay for one half or less than half of what the appraised value is.
Oh, you mean what they purchase it for, or what they pay in taxes now?
I just want to know what they pay in taxes now. She's saying they pay on $1.8 million, and it's appraised at $4.4 million. Okay, if you find it, that's fine. Commissioner Strickland and Commissioner Paris each made some outstanding observations as it relates to this parcel and this issue. We are in a conundrum when it comes to a parcel like this, because we desperately want something grand, something big, something different. It is rightfully frustrating because we purchased the Corbin building, haven't gotten to where we want to get to with that. Seems as though this parcel is designed to help that parcel. And we certainly understand that, but that is a big ask after we've already asked. What did we pay for the Corbin building? $4 million or 3.5? 3.1? Okay, that's a little better than I thought.
27,573 taxes.
Okay, they pay 27,573 in taxes. Okay, so and it does seem as though this is aimed at helping the Corbin, and I like that, because I understand that the idea of a CRA is, and the things that they brought forth tonight, I'm for all of those. I believe all of them can and should have already happened. And so they should happen. But those things are really low-hanging fruit compared to this. And in order for a redevelopment area to happen, you do have to take both of these parcels, bring them together, and then make them both happen. And I believe that they can, and I want to be able to support this. And I know that, you know, the way that the CRA has grown over there is because you had the bigger projects. That's where the real money comes in. And we've invested a lot of money in those larger projects. What I don't want staff to do is to, because this was not anything that was ever mentioned, and you gave a good reason as to why they may not have been mentioned, but there's no reason that if this was on the horizon, that at least at a minimum, that the manager should not have been able to have discussed this with commissioners in the last month. That's the type of thing that you must do if you want to earn the, you know, support of the commission. You got to keep them informed and involved so that they know, even if you don't want to promote it and project it outside. What I don't want is the fact that we, you know, the commission saw some numbers, the community looked at these numbers, and the press, you know, reported that we were hoarding money. It's not hoarding money in a CRA. That's not what that is. That's ridiculous. You must have big dollars in order to be able to pull off this type project. So what I don't want is the commission to come in on the 28th and have a big old list of things, and then you dry up all the money. But I don't want the staff to come and be afraid of that and then rush in with a project, as Commissioner Cantu is frustrated and feels as though this could wait a week, and she's probably right about that. I believe it could wait a week. There is no reason for it to rush. But most importantly for me tonight, most important, and this is why I will not under any circumstances be able to support this. We have redevelopment boards for a purpose and for a reason. And it has been expressed to me by members of the redevelopment boards that they do not have the confidence or feel that you all have the confidence in them that you should. That you, while they are an advisory board, but they don't express that they feel appreciated or valued. And the fact that this is brought to us without their input, and I'm not saying that there's never a circumstance for that to happen, because sometimes matters just have to happen that way. But I don't believe that this was such a matter. And I would not want to be on that redevelopment board as a citizen, as a business owner, and this project be brought before the commission without me having had the opportunity to weigh in on the project. So I do not agree with it. I am opposed to you all making that common practice, and that is the number one reason that I will not support this tonight. But I do want to be able to support it in the future. But I believe that we need to have a little bit better plan. I think Commissioner Paris was accurate in her expression as it relates to a lack of a comprehensive plan. So let's bring this back on the 28th, discuss it. Property's been for sale for what, 12, 13 years? And if they sell it to someone else tomorrow, I'm happy for them. And I'm even happier for us. Because maybe if they sell it to that person, then that person will really do something with it. That we really, I wish we that this wasn't a business that we have to be in. But the reality is, whether we like it or not, this is the business that the CRA is supposed to be in. Now, you know, you might look at the dollar and say it's a big dollar number, but not today, on my, at least as it relates to my vote. So,
Mr. Mayor, I had some comments too.
Yes.
I didn't get
Carry
to.
on.
Okay, I wrote my comments down. Give me a minute. So the goal is, what I'm hearing every week is we've got to end blight on the beach side. We've got to end blight on the beach side. And ending blight is what the CRA is trying to do by purchasing properties. We cannot force people to take care of their properties. We can't. We can't force them to take care of them to the standards of what the CRA and master plan calls. However, we can move those people along that don't want to take care of their property. And if we're in charge of those properties, then we have a better say of how those properties are taken care of. That cafe is blighted on that corner. And some people are just happy in living, stewing in that blight. Just, I'm okay with it. I think that if we owned that property, we would be able to get it under better control. But two things here, because I'm not for it tonight. The fact that you brought up the Corbin building was very good, because I too had this big goal and vision and dream for that Corbin building, and how it was presented to me. You know, different businesses would be in there, and all the things that families would be able to come that are over there at events on the beach side and that are over, and they would be able to go in there. Maybe we would have different restaurants, and I was a little bit disappointed that did not come to fruition. So I 100% agree, and I have that in my notes, that if we do acquire this property, I want to know exactly what we're going to do with the property. I don't want to purchase. I'm not going to be for purchasing any more properties that we don't have an actual plan to do something with. Because when they sit there, we still have to take care of those properties, and then it's more blight. Because sometimes those properties don't get the right care that they need, as evidence, which this was before many of us was on the commission, as evidence with the recreation center over here. So I'm 100% wanting the CRA to purchase additional properties. I think that it's in the master plan. It's in the master plan for the CRA to do these things, so it's not outside of the master plan. Contrary to what anyone else may get up here and say, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. That is what you're supposed to be doing. Don't stop doing that. Just make sure that, you know, we're in the know, because I would have liked more time to kind of get out, talk to more businesses, and get over there and see things for myself more. So I said that to say that I'm not totally against this project. I'm not totally against it. And I think that there is something that can go there that can be very wonderful for our community and for our beachside community. However, I want to know what that wonderful is. I don't want to go in blind anymore. Tell me what that wonderful is. Tell me how we're going to make that wonderful happen, and tell me a timeline for when that wonderful is going to happen. And I'm all for a meeting to discuss this further.
I too wrote some notes down. I could have voted on this tonight, but I hear my colleagues and I hear our citizens. Let me tell you something. The Bible says people, for the lack of vision, people perish. And if we keep on doing what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got, and we've got nothing on Main Street. You all deserve more. Main Street needs to be a place where people know about it and want to come here. And if we can have something iconic on that corner that draws people, like Mrs. Humphrey said, we shouldn't have to have a sign there. They should know that that's where Main Street is and that's where I'm going. There are some cities when you go there, people already know about sections of that city. They can't wait to go and see that section. That's what we want our Main Street to be. How dare DeLand have U.S. Main Street right down the street, this little itty bitty town, and here we are, big old Daytona, with this big old name that's well known throughout the world. We are Daytona Beach, Florida. I've been hearing about parking for so long, but not at night. We don't need parking. We don't want parking. We've been striving to purchase this land for years, and the opportunity is now here. But I can wait, and I can discuss it further. We've had requests for change on Main Street. Well, when is change going to happen if we don't make that change? The only reason Beach Street looks the way it looks is because somebody invested some money. And thank God it wasn't the city. So it gives us an opportunity to move on to something else and invest money somewhere else. Now, if y'all got some millions out there, y'all want to invest on Main Street, we'll take yours too. I'm excited about what could potentially happen. I'm excited that I'm up here to help you make it happen. But we've got to have a vision for where we're going with this. We've got to think about what Beach Street can become, and we've got to think beyond today. Yes, you live there today. Yes, you'll probably live there tomorrow. But who's going to live there the day after tomorrow? And what are we going to provide for them? Your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephew, your uncles, your cousins. We want them to still remember who we are. And we've got to change with the times. You know, some people want us to just be little old itty bitty Daytona forever. Well, the world is changing around us, and we've got to grow accordingly. All that building that's happening on LPGA, we deserve some of that on Main Street. We need some of that creativity and some of that draw. I, too, agree with everything that Amy Powell presented tonight. That's low-hanging fruit, as the mayor said. We can do all of those things, but we've got to do more, and you deserve more, and that's what we want to give you. Temporary amusements, that's what you said we could do until the plan comes to fruition. Food trucks, something we can do because somebody said there would be no food if we get rid of this place. A real estate investor, yes, maybe we need somebody that boasts who we are and puts our name out there. But we've got to do something, because if we don't do nothing, you'll keep on getting what you've always got, and you deserve more. This is Main Street, Daytona Beach. That concludes my comments.
So, you know, if we were considering, or if we had a $4.3 million proposition, why don't we just do what DeLand did, right? And what they did was they may have reached a point where they said, we cannot actually do this ourselves, and we've discussed this before, and maybe we weren't willing to invest in it then, but maybe we're willing to invest in it now, and maybe we can go ahead and contact the Main Street USA organization. They come in and they help the Main Street merchants set up a plan. I'm watching you cringe, but that's okay. I hope you're just tired from your foot. I can understand that, okay? But the difference is that they came in, they did the 4 points: people, places, community, promotion. They did everything. They came in, they laid out the plan. We've been trying for so hard to do this ourselves when we know that there's an organization that if we pay them, and yes, previously it was the merchants would have to invest in it, but we might want to take another approach. It would be a lot cheaper than $4.3 million. They have a timeline, they have a plan, they have a picture, they've succeeded in multiple cities. Why don't we go ahead and use some CRA funds and invest toward that? I believe it's a 3-year commitment, but at the end of 3 years, they're moving towards something on a business level, on a community level, the surrounding areas, and the businesses. So that might be our next step, and it's a lot more cost efficient doing it that way. And they're a proven entity.
Are there any Midtown groups out there like that?
Yeah, well. So we had, I told you a few years back, I went to their convention that they had. And that was when Beach Street was just starting. We've had our downtown merchants, but it's not, this is a completely different concept. They work with all the parts, but they need buy-in from that community. And the buy-in would come when the merchants would pay for it, right? So that meant, but what if the merchants possibly can't afford it? The area can't afford it, but the CRA can. It's a 3-year commitment, but they would work with us, and it would be their plan, right?
I'd be interested in hearing more about that.
Ken Strickland is the floor. Excuse me.
Could we maybe table this, get everybody up to speed on it, and also get another appraisal as suggested by Commissioner Cantu?
Are you making a motion? I'll second.
Well, we gotta withdraw the motion and the second for the previous thing.
So the motion was made by Commissioner May, and the second was Commissioner Reed to approve the resolution. Do you want to withdraw?
Yeah. I'll withdraw my first.
I'll withdraw my second.
And I'll make a motion that we table this, get everybody up to speed on it, get an additional appraisal, and bring it back at a later date. You know, as soon as possible, but it may take a little longer than next meeting.
How long does it take to get an appraisal?
30 days.
Okay.
So it won't be a decision made for next week in our CRA.
So the first meeting in March, that gives you all of February.
Yes, we could have an
There's still some
appraisal
January
if
left.
that is the commission.
And I'll second that. And I really would like them to come back with,
The Main Street USA.
correct,
Uh-huh.
and find out more information on that.
Mayor, if I have a question, is the appraisal, why the appraisal? What's the?
We have two,
We
don't
getting
we?
a second appraisal.
I thought we had two already.
No.
We only have one.
We did one couple years ago.
Mm.
Yeah, but now we have an appraisal and we're saying we need to get another appraisal.
I actually agreed with him. I think we should have two appraisals if you're spending at how
much does an appraisal cost?
$4,335,000.
2,000 more than 2,000.
Especially when the CMA, I think, thing was like 2.2 million. I agree with.
And in that month, we're waiting for an appraisal. Let's go forward with getting the information out to the board and to everybody that would like to have information about what's going on with this. And if it falls through because we do that, I don't think it will, because they've been trying to sell this place forever. So let's go ahead and do that if we could.
We have a first and a second.
Not for a tape. Well, we have a motion.
We have a motion.
There's a motion. There's a motion on the floor. There's a motion, so we have to vote on it.
And we asked him to bring it back the first week in March. He said he needed 30 days for the appraisal.
Okay, but the question is, do we need to take public comments?
No, I don't, not to table it. That's not a permanent action. Yeah.
Okay, all right, we have a motion to table and bring back with a second appraisal. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Good job.
Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering with regard to the conversation about Main Street USA, when could we get something with that? When could we get some information about that or a presentation about that?
They already have it.
You have it? And as Commissioner Reed was pointing out, is it possible to, maybe at the next meeting that we have for CRAs, I'm not sure it's too soon, but to have something like that also for the Midtown area, to see if that's possible? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Paris,
Yes, Mayor.
you have comments?
I do. I just wanted to thank the commission and staff for the flexibility and support provided to me during my family loss. With that said, I know that we have this workshop scheduled for the 28th next week. If it was okay with everyone, I would like to request if we could do it either February 4th before our next meeting at 5 or February 5th at 6. I could understand if that doesn't work with everyone's schedule, but I just wanted to be part of it, and the 28th, I'm still not going to be back.
I would support that for Commissioner Paris.
What are the dates? I'm sorry.
February 4th at 5 p.m. or February 5th at 6 p.m.
The 4th is a regular meeting, correct?
Yeah, I'm fine with
That's
February
correct.
4th.
Yeah, February 4th is good.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yep, let's go with it.
4th is good.
Yep, we're with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And condolences on
That's
your
it.
loss.
Yes.
Mayor Henry.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I have something to say on the CRA, if that's okay. Now our workshop is February 4th, but since staff was here, I would like to see, well, after our December 9th workshop, we were told that North B Street was not part of the CRA, which is the western part of North B Street. Well, I knew it was, and I'm sorry, but I had to do my own homework, which I did ask for every amendment from the property appraisal. The file was way too big, so he actually sent it in the mail. I have all the surveys, and I have had a meeting with Mr. Fiacher and Mr. Gross, and Mr. Gross says I am correct on this. and I'm going to let him speak in a few minutes because I just wanted the rest of the commission to know, because we are going to do our commission priorities for each CRA, and that is a big one because I hear about North Beach Street all the time, the utilities, the resurfacing, the sidewalks, ADA compliance, and we can use that. I think it's $2.2 million. We can use that for North Beach Street. Another thing on the blue CRA that we were given at the last workshop on December 9th, it states in here Sickler Drive, Sweetheart Trail, and I had brought that up because it said we paid $35,000.64 toward that in 2019. Actually, I just got the word yesterday, and just while I was in the commission, it was confirmed. We did not pay that. That was the Sun Trail, and that is, the Sun Trail is state funding. They paid they paid for the 100% of that. It was not TPO funding. TPO funding is a local match. So I would like to see at the next workshop if we can track down where that $35,000 is, so we can make sure that it's included in the blue CRA. Thank you. And I will send the email over from DOT and all them stating that we did not pay a dime of that. It was 100% funded by state. Thank you.
Okay.
And that's it.
Who? Ben. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I can confirm that the Blue Road area includes Beach Street, and I also have to add, I blew at the initial request to review that item for staff. I misread the legal description. I've since sent it over to the city surveyor, who's confirmed that it includes all of Beach Street.
All of Beach Street up until where?
Well, the surveyor is currently mapping it, and he had some technical questions based on the meets and bounds description. But I would say, pending whatever he produces in terms of his survey, it includes the entire length of Beach Street up to the north end of the redevelopment area.
Right.
Yeah, but I want us
What's the intersecting road?
On the western part of North Beach Street, all of, I can send the survey.
Yes, it's not to Mason.
I think, I don't know that as we sit here, but whatever the northern boundary is.
It's all the way up to Seabreeze.
Let him finish his map. And we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, whatever in-house survey we are doing, I mean, we can do it. I mean, I don't mind, because we probably need it for the road anyway and utilities, but our survey does not matter what we do. It's what the survey that is filed with the property appraisal that we have to go by, unless we are going to amend it. And I actually did talk to, because it was amended in 2010, I actually did talk to some of the boards that, members that were on there. Glenn Ritchie Jr. was the mayor as well. They were going to actually redo that road, but during the recession and everything, it just never happened because there wasn't enough money in there. But there was a plan, and it is on our city website that road was going to be done.
Yeah, and if you look at that amendment, the sketch that was attached to that amendment makes it clear that the intent was to include all of Beach Street. There's a dotted line that shows that. I'm just forwarding to you very technical observations from our surveyor, who's got to do his surveyor thing in mapping out a meets and bounds description. When he did a quick read-through, he was a little bit concerned about some of the calls, but I don't think that it's going to yield any confusion or doubt as to whether all of Beach Street is included in the redevelopment area.
Well, considering that we are going to have that as an option, and North Beach Street is without a doubt the single most desirous road in Daytona Beach for major attention. And I know this from my social media interactions and public interactions that every time that I post about a street repaving, 20 people talk about North Beach Street. And I don't really have an appropriate response because I was of the mentality that we did not have the finances, and I don't know if this is nearly enough money to address that road, but it may be a start to say something. I don't know what it costs, but because the road, you guys will remember to resurface and redo Orange Avenue, which was for 30 years the most problematic road in Daytona Beach. But that cost $20 million. So sometimes $2 million doesn't take you where you think it'll take you. But knowing that it's an option is good knowledge, and knowing that it's a part of the CRA.
Mayor, I did have a chance to look up the narrative description of the Blue Road redevelopment area. The northern boundary of the redevelopment area is the city's northern boundary. So,
basic.
yeah. So.
Wow. Okay. I never knew that. No, of course not. All right. Do we have any additional commentary? All right. This that was the last item, wasn't it? Yeah. This concludes our CRA meeting. We will convene our regularly scheduled city commission meeting at 8:15.